Hi everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a very special coin, the 2007 P Mint Mark Idaho Quarter. Some say it's worth big money, even $8,000. Let's explore the real story behind this coin, its history, design, and any rare errors that might make it worth something special. And don't worry, I'll keep it simple and fun. Let's go. I want to tell you all about a coin that has caught people's attention, the 2007 P Idaho State Quarter, and why you might have heard wild claims about it being worth something like $85,000. I'll walk you through what it really is, why collectors might find it interesting, the kinds of mistakes that can make a coin valuable, and how much it's typically worth. And don't worry, I'll keep it easy and fun like a chat between friends. Let's start with what this coin actually is. Back in 1999, the U.S. Mint began a project called the 50 State Quarters program. They released 5 different quarters each year until 2008, each one celebrating a different state. It became hugely popular, lots of people collected them, and it turned into the most successful coin collecting program in history, Wikipedia. In 2007, one of those 5 coins was dedicated to Idaho. It was released as the 3rd quarter of that year, following Montana and Washington, and came before Wyoming and Utah. On the front of the Idaho quarter, you'll see the familiar face of George Washington, the word liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," and, importantly, the little P mint mark. That P tells you the coin was made in Philadelphia. On the back, the design shows a peregrine falcon perched over Idaho's outline, with a star marking the location of Boise, the state capital. Above it is the state motto, Esto Perpetua, which means, let it be perpetual, with the year 1890 to mark when Idaho became a state, the year 2007 for the quarter's minting, and E Pluribus Unum as a traditional motto. Minted in Philadelphia, nearly 295 million of these coins were made, all with that P mark. Denver produced almost 287 million, and San Francisco made several million proof and silver proof versions, but those don't have the P. So, what's the value of a normal Idaho quarter? Well, if it's circulated and lightly worn, it's usually worth just 25 cents. Its face value if it hasn't been used and is in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks new and shiny, its value might go up to around 75 cents if it's MS63 grade, and maybe $4 if it's MS65 grade. APMEX shows MS65 at around $5, and even MS67 at only about $101 if certified, but getting that high a grade on a common coin is very rare. Then there are proof versions, especially silver proofs. Proof coins are specially made for collectors and come out with sharp details. Regular proof Idaho quarters from San Francisco in PR66DC grade might go for around $4.50, and a top-grade PR69DC proof could reach about $15. Silver proof Idaho quarters are 90% silver, so their value includes metal worth. APMEX says that silver proof in PR66DC could be around $11 and PR69DC about $20. CoinTrackers puts the silver proof's melt value at around $6.94 and says a high mint state example could fetch up to $10.10. So in everyday situations, unless it's in exceptional condition, a 2007 P Idaho quarter is worth just a few dollars at best, nothing near the $85,000 you've heard about. That brings us to the big, mysterious figure. Where did someone get that number? Most likely, it's an exaggeration or a misunderstanding. There's no credible record of any Idaho quarter ever selling for anything close to $8,000. It might come from some late-night ad or a clickbait claim. Sometimes people gold-plate quarters to make them look flashy, but plated quarters hold almost no value to serious collectors. But wait, what about error coins? The real things that can push value up are mistakes made during the striking process. In the Idaho quarters case, the only well-documented error involves a lamination flaw. That happens when the bond between the coin's outer layers and its copper core is weak, causing bubbling, peeling, or cracks on the surface. In 2021, an Idaho quarter graded MS64 with lamination bubbling error sold at auction for about $915. To understand that value, we should look at other state quarter errors in the same 2007 series. For instance, a Montana quarter with a partial tilted Callara misalignment at the rim sold for $725 in an MS65 grade A. Montana quarter struck with a nickel die as well fetched $1,250. A Utah quarter with a die chip sold for $1,035. A Washington quarter double struck off-center was $1,335. Wyoming struck through error sold for $920. A Utah missing clad error fetched $1,230. Wyoming rim cud went for $720. And a Washington proof with a double die reverse sold for $1,522. None of those are anywhere near $8,000. Most are in the hundreds to low thousands range, if in mint condition and graded. You might find someone online wondering if a certain mark or damage on their Idaho quarter is valuable. For example, someone on a collector forum thought a weird shape near a letter might result from die damage if the mint tried to repair the die, but experts said it's more likely post-mint damage and not worth more than face value. On Reddit, someone saw an odd raised feature by the date and asked about it. The community confirmed it was just a common struck-through error, and not especially valuable. So what should you, or any viewer, do if you have one and wonder if it's special? First, check its condition. If it's worn and looks used, it's probably just worth 25 cents. If it looks sharp and new, it could be a few dollars. If it looks like a proof or silver proof, it might be up to $20. If you see something odd like a bubble or peeling, that might be a lamination error. Try to get it graded by a reliable service like PCGS or NGC. Graded error coins in good condition might fetch hundreds, sometimes approaching $1,000, but that's still a far cry from an $8,000 price tag. In summary, the 2007 P Idaho quarter is a modern, common coin that's mostly worth face value unless it's uncirculated or a proof, in which case it can be a few dollars to maybe 20. The only known rare error for it, lamination bubbling, has seen one example sell for about $915. Claims of $8,000? They're almost certainly unfounded. If you ever find one with an error though, treat it with curiosity and get a proper opinion. Sometimes these little mistakes make a coin special, even if they don't make someone rich overnight. I hope that helps you and your viewers understand the real story behind this coin. Let me know if you'd like a companion script version, suggestions for filming, or ideas for simple visuals to go along with it.